to Behind the Scenes. I'm Angela Wolf, and today we have a lot of fun things planned. So if you've never been to the show before, we are live here on Facebook. On Saturday, you watch the rerun on YouTube. So this is what the plan is for today. We are doing part 2 of expos and events. I'm going to tell you how to get organized for the event so you can make the best out of your 1 or 2 days. So that's just going to be for a small portion, and I have a book review for you. This book is really good. I've had this on my shelf for a while, and we're actually going to go over that first. Then we're going to go to the expos, and then we're going to do a live Q&A. So this is super fun. So anyways, while we're rolling, I have to tell you. So last week after I saw you, I was laughing with Wynn when I was talking to you because I went online and I found really cheap flights to Florida, as in $11. $11, yes, 1-1, because I had miles. So I was able, we went to Florida just for a few days to get away. So I brought a bag this big of books. I brought my tablet, both my laptops. I had remember those to-do lists that we were talking about? Yeah. So I see Susan popped in here. I think Melody, you are too. You girls were only an hour, well, maybe an hour and a half south of me. They were in Key West. I was in Key Largo. I was thinking of you, though, because the weather was beautiful. Yes, Susan, I have Flat Stanley. This is my last day with Flat Stanley. In case you missed my Instagram post, my nephew, Colin, sent me Flat Stanley. So he has an entire wardrobe now. So let me just tell you one quick adventure. We were talking about traveling to sewing expos and stuff. Well, okay, so how did I fly to Florida for free? I had miles. Then you pay tax. But then all of a sudden I got called on a business meeting. So I had to leave vacation Monday to go to a business meeting, and then I flew home last night. So yes, it's been a very busy few days. So if I have bags under my eyes, it's not because of my vacation. It's because of the last 2 days of travel. So this will give you all a laugh for when you go on vacation. You know, I think there's a word for this, but I know there's children that watch this, so I won't say what I'm thinking. So we're going to just say life happened. How's that? Life happened. So trip to Florida went great, no problem. We're down there having a great time. I had to leave. I got picked up at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. I chose to fly a different airline. I usually fly Delta because that's where my miles are. I chose to fly American out of Miami because it had a direct flight to Newark. Now, my meeting's at 1. I was supposed to get in at 12:30. If everything went almost like it's supposed to be planned, I would have been right on time. Oh, goodness. Where do you start from there? Well, let's see. I got stuck in Miami traffic. How many of you live in Miami? Well, I'm just saying, I hope you work from home or you have to leave so early. We left at 6 a.m. and I got to the airport at 9. 3 hours. And my bladder's only this big, remember? And this is during coffee time, so we'll just leave it at that. So I get to the airport. And Miami Airport is huge. I usually prefer Fort Lauderdale Airport because it's a little bit smaller. I had to run all the way to the end. I ran to the plane, and there's a little sign, delayed. So I was a little grateful for that. But then it was delayed again, and delayed again. Then we all get on the plane, and I just get cozy in my seat, and I close my eyes, and they get on the loudspeaker and say, "We're sorry, we need you all to deplane because there's a mechanical issue." Not just one mechanical issue, 5. Now, if any of you have been watching the news lately, you know that there was the catastrophe on Southwest Airlines, which would absolutely be my worst fear of the exit door opening or a window opening, right? So I'm thinking, okay, we get off and we wait and we wait and we wait. We waited so long that I actually thought of just saying, forget it. I'm just going to join Skype for the meeting because I'm already going to be 1 hour late, 2 hours late. Well, right when I'm in the middle of thinking, they put us back on the plane. We get back on the plane, we're sitting there. Now, I fly a lot. And I know that after the doors close, within a couple minutes, we usually get pushed back from the gate. Well, that didn't happen. So we're waiting and waiting. And the pilot says, "Well, folks," he says, "I can't make this stuff up." He said, "We've called twice to have the ground crew push us away from the gate, and they're on lunch break." So is this kind of when you just say, life happens? So you can't get off the plane because the doors closed. So we waited. Oh, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes. So then we take off. And The rest of the day went about par for course like that. So I showed up to the meeting for the last 20 minutes, although I did go have a wonderful dinner with some friends, and flew home. That was my day. So I am thinking that that whole stack of stuff I was carrying, you would have thought, oh my gosh, well, you got so much done. Now that didn't happen either. So all I have to say is I am so happy to be here with you today. And Flat Stanley is flying home to Colin tomorrow. He has to go home. So I have his little briefcase, which is not here now. He was on the plane. He did all of this, and Flat Stanley said he's done with this. How do you like his polarized sunglasses? That was kind of a cool step, huh? So anyways, this tape that I found on here, Wynn helped me at Office Depot. It's double-sided, but it's removable. You can make your own Post-it notes. How cool is that? All right, so that is your horror of a travel day. But this is what I was saying. Life happens. So during this entire adventure, these two guys went to the counter at American. They were wearing, I'm not being judgmental, okay? But I think they just rolled out of bed. Might be in college age-ish, maybe. And they're both on their phones, and they're yelling at the man behind the counter, like, what do you mean you don't know what's going on? And just making a complete, well, just a complete annoyance. And they looked ridiculous. So about 15 minutes before we boarded the plane again, they're like, that's it, we're taking another flight. So they marched off with all of their duffel bag and took off. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what point was that to get all upset? Either you get on the plane or you don't. So have you ever had that happen? I mean, that is like, you just want to sit there and say, I know you're upset, but I think my job takes patience sometimes. That guy behind the counter gets an A+. I don't know his name, but he stayed just like this, and he just kept typing away. And you could see his face and his neck getting a little redder and redder and redder. And he just said, sir, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Sir, I would have choked those two kids, I have to tell you. I'm sorry. I would have been like, just go get a different flight. It's not like he could do anything. He's not the maintenance guy. So there's your laugh for the day. All right. Oh, gosh, I know. I can see many of you saying, yes, you traveled too. And yes. So, by the way, did you see in the group, Susan and Melody took photos together. There you are. I know you guys, I'm going to miss Flat Stanley too. They took photos together in Florida. They met up. So I met up with nobody. Just my husband and I hung out. I did absolutely nothing. I sat in the sun. I vegged for 3 days, and I'm totally rejuvenated. So wait till you see what I got back to. Right before we get to the book review, we are going to have another live show because we are unboxing all of the new fabrics. This fabric is so soft, I wish you could pet it. It's a jersey, so it has a stretch, a good recovery. Oh my goodness. And I wanted some floral. Everything I have is, and I ordered plenty so I can put it on the website. Okay, so this is absolutely gorgeous. This would make a great ruche tee, or the patterns that I was supposed to be working on last weekend. Okay, I got more. I got lots of this one because this is one of my favorite colors. Okay, this is a Couture jersey knit. Oh my gosh, look at the recovery. I've worn this top. I have this in brown and gray. This is absolutely gorgeous. It drapes like there's no tomorrow. We are going to have another draping lesson. That green top that I made, this would be beautiful in that. It looks a little orangey on the screen from what I'm seeing, but this is actually just a real red, Valentine red apple red. Absolutely gorgeous. I think it's my color, I think. So I have plenty of that I'll be putting up. Now, I only brought a couple bolts up here. We have like 20 bolts. Check this one out. This one, again, is so soft. So I'll move this over so you can see. Ready? This fabric, and my daylight, let me turn my daylight thing off. This is gorgeous. This has, look at how high of a stretch this is. You could actually probably make leggings. You could even probably do a bathing suit out of this. It's so stretchy. No, Pat, they're not cotton. These are all rayon blends. I couldn't find a cotton knit that I liked yet. So this one has just about, bring you back up here. Okay. Make sure that you're here and I didn't just lose you. So what I'll do is I'll do a separate show later on this week and show you these. And I'll do it in the group first, because if you're in the group, I always give you guys first dibs on the fabric with the sale. Angela Patterns group. Look at this color. This is going to be so awesome for summer. It would go great with black jeans, by the way, which I cut out another pair. Oh my gosh, before I left. Do you know those jeans last year are still in my FYI box? That means future plans box. So speaking of jeans, I bought 2 more things. This is a cream colored stretch denim. Not white, but like a cream, off-white. You can't see through it. That means no panty lines. That's a good thing. I absolutely love this. Okay, and I got one more because I ran out last year when you guys were all making your jeans. And I knew this would motivate me. And this one is going to give you the laugh for the day for Lynn. Okay? So this is black denim, has a stretch. Again, a good recovery so you won't have baggy knees. And it's thick enough that you can't see, you know, like back fat, all that stuff that we want to cover up with our jeans. You know what I'm talking about. So here's your laugh, and then we're going to get rolling with the book review. Most of this came in boxes, but some of it came wrapped in plastic. So I said to Wynn, oh my gosh, we just walked in the studio like 15 minutes ago. I literally just got back last night and threw in like 100 loads of laundry and walked in the studio to meet you, which I wouldn't miss for the world. I said, Wynn, would you do me a favor and open those boxes real quick, just really quick, so I can grab some of my favorites and bring them up, which they're all my favorite, but I chose my 5 favorite. So but be very careful, because when you open that box, you could rip the fabric. Well, I don't know if you'll see this. Can you see that? Yes, that's not a stripe on the fabric, okay? So Wynn says, how much is that fabric? And I go, I don't know, 15 bucks a yard. And he's like, I owe you 15 bucks. So go ahead, laugh, give Wynn the love. You can, he's not even here. He walked out. He said, you gotta be kidding me. He took my Kai scissors, which you're not supposed to open packages, okay? And he went whoop, right across the package. And so now I have this nice line. Yes. So just so you know that once this fabric goes on the website, I figure this is only the part that got cut. And it's about as long as my knee. So I think I'm going to have to make either a Kate skirt or a pair of jean shorts, because I'm going to have to cut off that first 3/4 of a yard before I ship it to you. So y'all can give Wynn the laugh, because I thought that was pretty funny. Just a little training he needs. I know. All right, so book review. Check out this book. Just bring it down here. Check this out. See if I can try to put this light on, because I think you can see a little better. Love this thing. In fact, I don't even wear my glasses when I have paper on here now. So let me know if it's too bright. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it like this. So this book is by Steffani. Now, I know I'm going to botch her last name. Although I've talked to her through email, I've never spoken to her. Steffani. We're just going to go with Steffani. Can you read that? Okay. Steffani, if you're on here, I'm sorry for botching up your name. So what I'm going to do is just go. I can see you all laughing. Oh, okay. So by the way, you want to know where the link to this book is? I had somebody just ask. If you look at when this video is over, well, you can go to angelawolf.com, and it's the first blog post. And there's a link right to it. And also, okay, let me just bring you up here for a quick sec. In this video, in the description, when the video is over, if you look in the description, there's a link to that blog post. And guess what's in that link? The blog post includes the contest, which don't forget, I draw for next week. The winner gets these 2 things. So that's in that link, the link to this book, and a few other tips for the travel that we're doing. So go to angelawolf.com. It's the first blog post, or there's a link inside the video. this video here at the top. Okay, so this is the book, and she has written a few books. She has a couple craftsy classes. Let me see. I'm going to make sure that you guys can see okay. Where can I? Is that better, guys? Just give me thumbs up or leave me a little comment, and then I'll know. So I can see Judy just said, where might this? Oh, you guys are asking about fabric. I'll let you guys, well, I'll get back to the fabric in a minute. Okay, so in this book, again, there's a lot of like just basic information. Now this is basic, like how to wind your bobbin, things like that. How to clean your machine. Okay, boring, but it's very important because if you don't know this stuff, it's important. This is showing you different bobbins. So that part I wasn't so interested in, but I think if you're a beginner sewer, you're going to love it. Here's different threads and what it looks like. Now that's always helpful. And then we get to the fun part. Okay, she goes through all of the presser feet. Now, how many of you, be honest here, I'm not going to do a live poll, but you can say, just give me a number between 1 and, I don't know, 50. However, out of all the presser feet in your machine, how many have you actually used? I'm going to say on average, I've probably used, well, let's see, the regular one, standard presser foot, the zipper, the hidden zipper. Quite often I just use the regular zipper foot. So that way I just show, I don't know. I like to show people how to put an invisible zipper in with a regular zipper just in case they don't have that foot. I always like to give everybody sewing success if you have a $200 sewing machine or a $20,000 sewing machine. So I try not to use too many specialty things, but there are some feet that you just have to. So I know you can't use Teflon, whatever the word is for that foot. Plastic foot? That one I use for faux leather. Let's see, well, what else does she have in here? Well, these are all talking about different shanks and stuff. Zipper, hidden zipper, I've used those. The rolled foot, I use, sometimes. I usually use that on the serger. And then she has a whole list of other ones. By the way, have you ever tried the cording foot? You can put little pieces of thread through that with, and it does like a zigzag stitch. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. So one of the things I did this year is for 2018, I pulled out a few different books. I have a book that went with my old, when I won that baby lock machine years ago, my mom bought me a book. It's about this thick. I'll bring it for next week to show you. And I noticed that there was a couple of other companies that had books similar. And it shows you a photo of the foot and how to use it. So I'm challenging myself before 2018 is over. I have a lot of months to go here to take one foot and try it and use it on a project or a garment. So, okay, so far, by the way, we were only up to 4 feet. Standard, plastic, zipper, hidden zipper. Rolled hem gets like, I've used it, but not a lot. I mean, I should take that back. I use it, but I prefer the serger now because the stitch is so good. Other than that, I just can't think of the open toe foot. That's a good one. I'll bring a bunch of these next week and we'll compare. But give me a number of how many that you use. Okay, you could say how many you have, 30, and then dash 4, meaning you have 30 and you've used 4. Just curious. I'm really just curious about that. Because every time I do a poll with you guys, you really surprise me. So let's go back down here to the book. Oh, yes. Okay, blind hem and walking foot. Yes, I've used both of those. And the move it foot from, that's a good one too. Okay, so we're up to like 8. So she has really good pictures in here. I love pictures. Very clean layout. Cute projects. Just a pencil pouch. This is like, you know, the basic bag that you always make. Let's see, what else do we have? There's the twin needle. She has some things with that. Oh, yes, we've all used the button foot, right? Oh, I saw somebody mentioned, oh my gosh, Melody, you have 53 feet? Did I just read that right? I have to go back and check that out. Okay, this is for button placements, for buttons. So you can see there's a lot of things here where if you just needed a quick tip, but it also includes some cute projects. And I think that's pretty cool because a lot of these books will just give you like how to. And this is a bit more. This includes, you know, for straight stitching, which we all love. So this is your rendition of what's going on. Okay, have you tried these little bias binders where you make your own bias binding? Those are really cool. So bias binding, that is going to be a really big thing for this spring as well. And you can get a quick preview of the patterns of what she's doing. That's super cute. So this is probably my favorite section of the book. Let's see, the decorative stitches, and wait, where did it go? Well, free motion, embroidery, we've all done that. There's the cording. Where did it go? It's like, oh, here. Okay, pin tucking. I love that. And then there was another one for decorative. Oh, look at how cute this is. The fringe foot. Have any of you tried that? I think that is just so cool. Now, I have this foot. I just don't ever use it. I forget about it. And this part. I love the lace applique. So she gives a lot of tips for that. You can do that on a serger too, by the way. Very cool book. And this is one thing that I am working on, these little beautiful stitches on linen, but I'm doing that with a shirt. So that is the gist of the book. I don't want to give you everything in it. So again, the link, if you go to angelawolf.com, right when you get on that page to the right is the next blog post. I believe it has last week's episode. Scroll down, there'll be a picture of this book. All you do is click on it, and you can add it to your Amazon page. I also added it to my Amazon page for you. But I saw a couple of you guys wrote in here. Let me just check this out real quick. I can see you guys are saying that you love Lynn, even if you cut my fabric. I know, I love them too. Okay, Julie, yes, I know, you do need that book. And then I see, okay, let's see, we've got 15. We have 5. Oh my gosh, you guys have so many. Wes, I'm with you. So Wes, you design clothes, just, you know, like I do. You remind me of when I was like just starting out, because you're young. That's all. But I love your creations. But I wasted so much money on an expensive machine when I first started out, and all I did was go forward backwards. I mean, it was like I went forward backwards. I used the zipper foot forward backwards, and I used the buttonhole, which barely. At least now they have good buttonholes. We've had this discussion, right? So Wes, I'm laughing when you say that, because that's very true. And a lot of times you have no need for anything more than that. All right, so I see a lot of 5s, 5, 6s. Evie says 5. Gertrude, you have 8 feet. That's still a lot of feet. I mean, if you think about it, that's still 8 options. I think I wonder if my little box. Where is that thing? I clean too much. I'll find it. I'll bring it next week. Remind me next week to show you the box that came with my Dream Machine. It's like this big and has 1,000,000 feet in it. It's very cool, though. All right, before I get on, so that's your book review. I gave you the link. And before I get on to the next tip for traveling, I saw a couple things on here that I wanted to point out. Okay, so Sandy, I saw. Like Flat Stanley in the background. I know. So, by the way, did you see Flat Stanley fishing? So if you're not on my Instagram page, you probably didn't see it, but we actually attached him to the fishing pole. Yeah, it was really funny. I took so many photos this weekend, and do you know I didn't post any of them to Instagram except in my little story, because that's just a quick, easy thing. So you're going to see a lot of photos coming over the next couple weeks that are not immediate. They're from a couple, the last few weeks. For example, one photo, the hotel that I stayed at on Monday night. I'll post a photo on Instagram for you. I walked in, it was a suite. I think it was maybe an apartment or something, but it was a Hyatt, so it wasn't. But I walk in, and there's a table. We could have had the best sewing party ever if I knew I was going to have that room. There was 8 chairs, and everyone had their own, almost like a mini desk. Perfect size for a sewing machine. And then like a 60-inch screen TV, a couch, and a love seat, and a kitchen. Who needs the bedroom even? 2 bathrooms. You all could have joined me. We could have had a sewing party. I walked in, and I was like, I'm only going to be here for 8 hours. What a waste. So I did take a photo of that, because it would have been a lot more fun if it was a sewing party. Okay, so Melody says she has 18 feet. Oh my goodness gracious. Amy, you wrote that you you buy them and you forget what they're for. Okay, kudos to you, because I have a whole box of those. I think I bought a whole batch of different feet, and then I went to Creative Feet, and she gave me a whole bunch of really cool feet that I haven't used. I need to use these things. Like you guys are saying, some of it does really cool things. So maybe one of these days, like, I don't know, in 2014, because I have a long list of stuff to do before then. We'll do one where we choose a different foot every week and do something and have a contest. I don't know. Okay, so I can see there's a 1/4 inch foot. Yeah, that's a good foot. Hi, Gail. And let's see what else. We got the binding foot. Oh, hey, Carrie. By the way, Carrie, I saw that dress that you posted on Instagram. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And for those of you that are not in the group, you might want to join Angela Patterns group, where we share a lot of stuff we're working on. Rebecca did the coolest upcycle of this shirt. She turned it into, well, I mean, it was a costume, but, well, they were going to an event with a costume, but I would wear that thing any day. It was so cute. So you have to pop in there and see that. All right, so Judy used your edge foot last night. Wow, you guys have a lot of things in there. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so here is a big one. Amy, what do you got to say? Your baby lock and Genomes can't fit the typical pointed, got closed zipper foot. Oh, that's interesting. Well, okay, so here's a little tip about generic feet. If you use, I feel like I have a hair at my nose, sorry. If you use generic feet, or for example, on my commercial machine, I would just buy feet off of Wawak, like $2, $5 for these feet for the commercial machine. And then I found out that it fit my PQ 1500 and it fits the Jane. Here's the kicker though. They're technically not the brand of the machine. And if you use that and machine breaks, guess what? You're out on the warranty. So just keep that in mind if you're going to experiment with off-brands with your machine. Now, in all the times I've been sewing, have I ever had something break because I used one of those feet? No, maybe a needle, but that's about it. But I always just prefer to use the brand. So just a little tip for you there. Okay, so by the way, at the end of the show, I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes just going over part 2 of our Sewing Expo. I have a few things for you, so grab your notepad. If you missed part 1, you can watch it from last week. And last week was finding the event that fits for you. We talked about the event. If you're going to go to a dealer event versus an expo, what's the difference? Find out if the event you have your own machine or you're sharing. Make sure that the event fits you. That is so important. Even if you're going to an event that's right down the street. If you're traveling, then you really have to be sure. I have walked in, well, I love anything sewing. So there's nothing that I've walked in and went, oh my gosh, why am I here? But there's some that I'm thinking, could have been better, could have been worse. And then there's others, like the Houston Quilt Fest, that I wish I had 2 weeks to be there, although they're not open for 2 weeks. But I always say, why didn't I stay an extra day so I could go look at the stuff there? The quilts, like, you could look forever. So today I'm going to give you tips for going to a show, how to plan the show, so you don't leave there and go, I missed half the things I wanted to see. So this is what I have. I print off, just bring you down here. This is what I print off. There's my to-do list. I'll cover up my to-do list so you don't get like overwhelmed. This is a daily calendar out of my Outlook, and it has all the times. Now, the show obviously usually doesn't open at 7 a.m., but it does stay open to the end. Well, I mean, till whatever. So I print these off for every day of the event, starting now. So, okay, let me go back up here. The Houston Quilt Festival is November, I think I wrote down the date, 8th and 11th. Right now is when you need to start planning that event. That event is so big that if you want to go to the Houston Quilt Festival, get a hotel now. Make sure that you get a hotel where you can get a refund. If you book right to the hotel's website and you don't get some really crazy special deal, you can cancel up to like 2 days in advance. Now, they might have different rules during the Quilt Fest, but I would book now, and then if you decide not to go, you can cancel. But book now because it's going to fill up. I think the 2 hotels that were the closest was Marriott and the Hilton. But there's a ton of hotels there. So that's first. Okay. this is something else you're going to do right now. Print these off where you have the daily sheets. Here's the daily, here's the weekly. Why on earth would you do that? Well, I usually plan weeks in advance. I'll lay this all out now and say, okay, on this date, I'm going to need to pack or book my hotel or book my flight. You can also do that part on a monthly calendar. But when it gets closer to the event, I like a daily calendar so I can keep track of what I'm doing. This part here is for the actual event. You don't need to print off 365 days. All you need to print off is what you're going to be, the days you're going to be there. So this is what you need to have. Go to the website. We talked about that last week. And I think I even wrote down, I'm using these two as an example. Houston Quilt Fest, November 8th through 12th. The original Sewing and Quilt Expos, we talked about those. The one in, say, Arlington, that's in June. Right now, you would want to book your hotel. And if you need flights to either of these events, here's a secret on that. It's a good idea to book early, but not too early. If you book too early, like I probably won't book Houston until June. Because if you book now, they might not have all the flights listed they're going to have. I have found that in the past, where I think one year I was going to book everything in March for the following November. And the rates were crazy expensive, and the options for flying times was ridiculous. Now, I don't use any of the websites that say cheapest flights and all that stuff. Feel free. But I book straight through the airline because if I have to make a change, it's just much easier for me. So I think I was trying to fly Delta, maybe, and there was only 2 flight options, and it was like $1,200 to go. And I thought, this is crazy. Well, this was from March and then booking for an event in November. But then I waited till June, and then all of a sudden a bunch of the flights showed up for like $500. So when you look, keep an eye out of the prices, and on Wednesdays is the cheapest day to book a flight. I have found that myself personally, and then I've heard a few people on news channels throughout the last few years say Wednesday's the best day. So there's your travel tip. Now, what are you going to do with these? These are what you're going to plan your schedule. So this was from the American Sewing Expo. Remember this show from Novi? I saw a ton of you reply that you were so sad it's gone. But the original Sewing and Quilt Expo is coming there this year. So they used to have this great book. It was filled with all the classes, things like that they would mail out. So whatever event you're going to, find out if they have a booklet like this that they can send you, or go on their website and print it off. And just print it black and white. Save your color ink. But what you're printing is a list of the classes. It'll tell you the times of the classes, who the instructors are, and then you also want to print the vendor list. Okay, so let's just say in this book, I'm going to just bring it down here, even though this is an older book. So this was the American Sewing Expo. There was moi teaching. That's many years ago. So in here, it would tell you this is what's going on. Here's some classes. And what I would do is I would go through here, and I would just, okay, oh, that looks like a great class. That looks like a great class. And then I would keep rolling. Here's a fitting section. That looks like a good class. And you can't circle these things if you're online. So I always print these off. This is what I want to point out. Do you see this here? Now, although this is specifically at the Sewing Expo, the American Sewing Expo, check out Demo Stage Schedule because that has a ton of free things. So if you print this off of one of those websites I was telling you about, you can go through and find out there might be a free fitting class, there might be a free sewing tip, there might be a free fashion show, anything like that. And what I do is, well, my mom helped me with this actually because I didn't even realize that there was free stuff. And she said, you know that there's corners at this show? And I said, no. And she said, every corner has a free something every hour. I said, you got to be kidding me. So she would go through first and check all of the things that are free. They have fashion shows, and I was always teaching during the fashion shows, so I missed most of them. They had the kids' fashion shows. They had all these great things, so go there first because you know what that means. You only have to pay, let's see, Houston Quilt Fest this year is $15 to get in. By the way, if you're a senior, now I don't know what senior means. 50, 60, 70, 80, I don't know. It keeps changing in number. But if you're a senior, a student, or a military, and I know a lot of you on here are with the military, it's only $9. Children under 10 years old are free. So there you go. That's that bonus. Somebody asked last week if they have carts. Yes, they do. Most of them have like the mobilized carts. Well, I know Houston Quilt Fest does, and those things are fast. I don't know how much they are to rent though. Okay, so Original Sewing and Quilt Expo, I looked that one up to be exact. That ticket's $8 if you book it online plus $5 processing fee. So it's not really $8, it's processing fee. Or you can pay $15 at the door, which is fine. Now, one thing that I noticed on the Houston Quilt Fest is if you take a class there, it says you do not need a pass to get in. So that's one class. If you take one class, that's a pretty good deal. So I don't know if it's the same at the Quilt Expo. I'll find out for you. But these are just two general events I'm talking about. So many of you in the contest, I asked you, have you been to an event and do you plan on going to an event? I'll give you the results next week. But many of you have already listed events that you go to and that you love, and I'm going to compile a list of your favorites. So don't forget to enter the contest and answer those questions for me. All right, so on here, these calendars, I will take the daily calendar and I will take the weekly calendar and plan my schedule. For the daily calendar, I then take a bunch of Post-it notes with these things that I've circled, and I will stick them to different hours of that day. So then I can look and say, wait a minute, I got 3 things at 9 a.m. That's not going to work. Then you pick your favorite. Otherwise, if there's so many things going on in so many classes, you're so overwhelmed. Not only that, the shopping, which is the best part, you're going to miss out on. That's where I come to downloading the list of vendors. Many of them you've probably never heard of. In fact, mine, I used to always list under ABO Apparel, which you don't even know who that is, because that's my LLC name. So print the list off. If there's links, check out their website just quickly and either cross them off, circle them, or put a maybe, right? So then you're like, okay, maybe, maybe, maybe. The ones that you have absolutely no interest in, cross off. Don't waste your time when you get to the show going to the places that you've already checked out that you have no interest in. That'll save you maybe a minute because there's hardly any that are not interesting. But there might be like a ShamWow thing that you're like, oh yeah, I don't need that. So on the vendor list, after you print that off, go through, and then after you figure out the ones you like, the ones that you love, I highlight. I use a highlighter. Well, I'm kind of cheesy. I have like 4 different colors. I'm like a kid. If you saw my bag, I've got colored pencils, I've got colored Sharpies, I've got colored highlights. I just love color. So I will color one color with favorite, another color for, okay, part 2, part 3. Then I will go back, and in the evening while I'm watching TV, I will just itemize the ones in order of what I want to see. When it gets closer to the show, I will check that out again, but at least I have my base tag list. I bring that list with me. And when you get there, there should be a little flyer or a booklet like this. This is great. And when you go through there, I don't know if this one had the vendors. This was more of a class list. Yeah, no, this one didn't have the vendors. But when you get there, there will be a list with vendors. That's what the vendors pay for. And you can scroll through, usually alphabetically, find the vendors that you have highlighted, circle them, or write down the booth number next to what you have. Thank heavens for Janice Easter last year, because I did that and wrote down all the vendors, had it all organized. Now, at the Houston Quilt Fest, if you even think that you're going to walk in and walk up and down aisles finding one booth, you're crazy. I knew where Daylight was because he actually walked by and I followed him to his booth right away. And I knew where All Brands was because I was working there. But Janice, how long was I on the live show trying to find the Kite Scissors booth? I walked by it like 6 times. That show is so huge and overwhelming. So get the booklet. I think at the Houston Quilt Fest, you actually have to pay for the bigger booklet. It might be $10. It's worth it because, number 1, you have a great list. Number 2, you have that list to take home with you if there was a vendor that you liked and you wanted to order something later. There's a lot of reasons. I have a whole stack of them if you want any old ones. So what I would do then is take that list and write down the booth numbers and then kind of organize things by row. For the smaller shows, you don't have to go to such extremes, but for the Houston Quilt Fest, you kind of have to, because you'll never make the show. I've been there, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in a row, and I still have not made it through the entire show. Now, granted, I'm working, but I have one day I usually come there a day early to do a walkthrough. That never seems to happen. I always seem to end up at the gym and then running into people, and I make it down 2 aisles, and then I leave Sunday morning. So I haven't decided this year if I'm going to go a day early. I never make the Thursday night thing. There's a Thursday night thing there that's like the grand opening. It's just too many people. But I might wait and leave on Monday so I can enjoy the show on Sunday and get the final. I'll keep you posted on that. So that is your tips for the event. That was part 2 for this series. And I think let's see if I got everything on there for you. Now that, again, I was using the Houston Quilt Fest and the original Sewing Expo, or the original Quilt and Sewing Expo, because I'm going to be at both of those. Okay, now there are a lot of dealer events. I just finished 2 of them that are smaller, and those are the ones that you need to call and prepare in different ways. So this one was just for the expos. You can watch last week's episode, 76, if you want tips on that. Okay, so that was your tip. Download the calendar, the vendors, check out all of the free events and the free tutorials, because that is the coolest. So now I'm opening up the floor for the last 15 minutes for your live Q&A. So I'm going to just scroll down here. I saw last week a few of you asked me if I would do the book reviews first, because you said that's your favorite part, and a couple of them said that you don't even sew, but you want the book review. So that's pretty cool. So I will try to do the book review first if it fits in the schedule. I did it today, kind of, after my fabric. Okay, so let's see. Marcy, what do you have saying on here? Get a map of where the vendors are, so you aren't walking back and forth from end to end. By the way, did you see that last year when I did that? Because that was quite embarrassing. If it wasn't for Janice and a couple other people there helping me, Janice kept walking up to me saying, it's down that row, it's this booth. She'd send live messages on here. If it wasn't for you guys telling me, hey, I just looked it up, it's in this booth, which that's the best part of live video, is that you're helping. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to stick this up here. Oh yeah. If you want the link for that book and you don't feel like going to my website, there it is. Take a quick photo. It looks like it's amazon.com/shop/Angela_Wolf. That's my whole page, but it should be like the last one on there. I just posted it. And let's see. Okay, there you go. And Sandy says she's looking for a good discount site for new bobbin cases and Alpha tricks. That's interesting. What are Alpha tricks? A new bobbin case. Well, Anybody have any suggestions for Sandy on that? I saw, what kind of bobbin case you're looking for, by the way? Because I use, have you seen, everything's always way over there. My office is too big. Thread spools. That's what I use for my bobbins. It's like the little circular one on the table. Yeah, that works great. All right, Marcy, what did you say here? Hold on a second, I see this. How many new fabrics did you get? Well, I ordered it like 3 weeks ago, but they were waiting for a couple of these to get in. I have more coming because all those patterns I've been working on for like months that I really thought I was going to work on this weekend that I didn't. But now I'm on like, okay, I got to get these done because I want some summer clothes. And of course, the patterns will be coming out too. I ordered probably 4. I see 10 bolts at this point. That doesn't sound like that much. But each one, I think I ordered 20 and 30 yards. I think one of the prints, I didn't, this one here, that pink one, I wasn't sure. I can order more of this right away. So I'll probably put this on the site. I'm going to put all these on the site first thing tomorrow. This is going to be my all day tomorrow. And once they're all up on the site, I'll go live again for you. I will go live in the group first, though, probably. And I can't share from the group to go live on Facebook. So I'll pop in and just let you know they're up there with the discount code. But this one, all I saw was this itty bitty swatch. And you know, from a little swatch, it's so hard to tell, is this going to be a good fabric or not? This fabric is so soft. I seriously want to make pajamas out of this. Now, this is such a floral that a pajama, I would kind of feel like my grandmother, who I love dearly. And although she's passed, she's laughing with me right now because she had something similar to this. So, okay, maybe not pajamas. I can just see my husband's face right now. So I'm going to go with a shirt or a really cute dress because it's so soft. So this one I only ordered 15 yards of. And when I order the prints, now the other one is 20. I have a few more prints coming. I just ordered a handful of yards. And then if it turns out that everyone wants it right away, I'll order more. Otherwise, it's just like grab it and go. I'm actually going to cut stuff for my garments first because all the patterns that I have finished that I'm almost ready to launch, but not quite. I want to test them one more time, and I'll test them with these fabrics so you'll be able to see. So I have a lot. A skirt. Marcy, you think a skirt, huh? Oh, yeah, a skirt would be really cute with that. I'm so addicted to skirts now. This last weekend in Florida, well, I pretty much lived in my bathing suit, jean shorts, and then when we went to church and we'd go shopping and stuff, I would just wear my Kate skirts. I have 3 of them, and I just throw them in the wash and roll them back in the suitcase. So, yeah, very fun. Let's see. You can see that in the Evelyn dress and jacket. That would be very cute. Actually, Amy, that would be very cute, except it's really stretchy. Well, it's not as thick as a Ponte knit. So I'm going to say no on the Evelyn jacket, but the dress would be cute. What do we have here? Sandy. The coupons work on the dress forms, then you can get free shipping. All right, there you go. There's a tip for you, Joanne. No, who are you sending that to? To Judy, not Joanne. I'm sorry. Secret pajamas. Okay, so I'm just saying I'm so happy that I was able to go to Florida because Susan, Melody, would you say that last weekend was like absolutely the most gorgeous weekend ever? And well, we had a heck of a storm Sunday night, but who cares? That's at night, right? It was so beautiful just to sit in the sun, just to, if you live in Michigan, you know that it's been so cloudy. So my wardrobe, when I leave the office, is my yoga pants and my sweatshirt every day, every night. And I'm sure Wynn will be very excited, even if I made flowered pajamas, to get anything besides these yoga pants and this black sweatshirt that I wear every day. I am supposed to be a fashion designer, right? Although I did hear that, what did they say about fashion designers? You're supposed to wear all black. So I always tell them that if I get into a mood like where I'm not wearing anything, I say, fashion designers are supposed to wear black. They're supposed to blend in. Your clothes are supposed to stand out. Yeah. Okay, Judy, you'd still like to make the peasant top you made a few years ago. Oh, yeah. That's a very cute top. In fact, well, I wasn't going to talk about this week, but Shannon Fabrics sent me a bolt of fabric, which this won't be for a few weeks because I have other things planned. But we had planned it for early summer, so you might be surprised about that. And the fabric is crinkly, just like the peasant top, but I'm going to dye it, and we're going to dye it on the show. But that won't be for a few weeks, so you'll have to just stay tuned to that. I see somebody, let's see, Wes, tips on pricing your garments to sell. That's a good question. So, Wes, by the way, I am starting, because there's 3 other ladies in our group here that are in alterations, not necessarily custom clothing. I'm starting a webinar series for that, for business, because it's so much more than just a quick answer. Okay, so how many here sell your garments or sell your products at shows? Do you sell on Etsy? Do you sell on any of your craft, or do you just do it for fun? Or do you just do it for yourself? Just out of curiosity, because pricing your items is probably the hardest. If you went back and watched the video that I did with Janet Prey on YouTube on our executive entrepreneur series, I will be starting that again at some point. It was just too difficult to organize people to get on the show at the time I needed to be on there. So she gave a lot of tips on how she priced her garments. It was very similar to what I did with mine, just a little bit different tweaking. But you have to figure out the time that you spend, how much it costs for the materials, and then you have to multiply that at least by 4. That was her general category. Now, what do you charge per hour? Things like that, that varies on what you're doing. But you cannot, this is one thing that you cannot do. You cannot just buy the material, make the garment, and give yourself no amount of money for time. I used to talk to some ladies, they'd say, well, I just made this skirt. That would be like this. I just made this skirt out of this beautiful fabric, and after I did that, what did you sell the skirt for? I sold it for $20. And I say, okay, how much did you get the fabric for? And she said, well, I got it wholesale for $10 a yard. Okay. So how big is the skirt? 1 yard. Okay, so that $10, and you sold the skirt for $20. That doesn't even cover your cost of using your sewing machine, yourself, your needles. What about your space? Now, I used to be, when I first started, I was pretty stupid. We're going to use the word naive. Naive is a much prettier word. But I was pretty naive on what to charge. So I would do an entire custom pair of pants for like $100. We're talking like 25 years ago, by the way. But I just got out of college. When you're sewing, your confidence level's low. It's low because you don't have the affirmation of people saying, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. That's why I love the Angela Fashion Sewing Patterns group, even though we're showing more than my patterns. If I inspire you for something as far as an upcycle or something like that, they're posting photos of that. You're not allowed to sell stuff in there, but you can post photos of what you're inspired to do. Wes is a fashion designer, so he shows outfits that he's designing. When people tell you, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous, or that's beautiful, and they're being honest, they're not just saying that, or you say, is this seam too crooked? Should I redo it? You're going to get constructive criticism. But when I started, there wasn't this networking that we have online. So I had to look at this garment and say, I think it looks good. I'm not sure, but I think it does. So you're very naive. And at that point, I didn't shop at Nordstrom's and higher end stores. I didn't shop, I don't think. I made all my own clothes. So I would say, okay, well, oh my gosh, I just got the best deal. I just spent $10 on fabric and I made this adorable pair of pants. So what should I charge somebody else? I don't know. So it was really until I started doing a lot of personal shopping for customers that needed that I would walk into a store and say, oh my gosh, these pants are $400. I could make these for, well, yeah, I could. But you know what? You're making a custom pair of pants for somebody. You should actually be more than that. So that is like a general aspect of that on what you should charge. Now, if you're making ready-to-wear clothes that you're selling to a store where they're not custom fitted and things like that, there are a lot of good pricing, formulas out there and a couple good books. So if I see enough interest, well, I'm doing this webinar anyways, Wes, you're going to love it. But if I see enough interest, I will make sure that there's even more details. So if you want to leave a comment below and just say, yes, you want a webinar, and yes, and just tell me if you do alterations, custom clothing, or a ready-to-wear. Then I will know how I'm going to structure this, because I already have half of this finished. So you're going to get half of it anyways. But I will alter it a little bit more if I see that more of you are in alterations or custom clothing. And I also, in this webinars, they will have, similar to my book, I think, Wes, you have my book. In case you haven't seen this, for those of you that are newbies on the show, this is my business book. And there's a lot of good resources in the back here that will tell you like a ton of websites to go to and stuff like that for learning how to do pricing. So I'm on it. How's that? Thank you, Wes, by the way. Thanks for a great question. And that was a gorgeous dress you posted last week. All right, so what else do we have? We have a few more minutes for questions, and then we're going to roll. That piece of fabric. Oh gosh, Judy. Yes, doesn't that look like the 70s? So if you looked at the fashion magazines for this year, flowers are huge. They were huge last year too. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not wearing all these flowers. I think I've warmed up to some of them, not all. I'm not into, well, there's a certain color scheme that just reminds me too much of an era that I never was in. This one, by the way, is not a bunch of itty bitty flowers. This one is a bunch of big flowers. But do you remember that fabric I had on here? Oh gosh, you guys were so awesome. I should have had 10 bolts. I put it online and I didn't even wake up the next morning and it was all gone. And there was a ton of emails. What happened to your fabric? Well, it sold out so fast. This one would make a great tank top underneath a black jacket. This would also make a great dress. But I love having a little bit of print color. This would make a great Delilah, the short sleeve probably version. This might be a bit much for a big Delilah because it's so loose through here. I don't know. I'll experiment with it and I'll show you, and then you guys be the judge. How's that? Okay, what type of fabric is best for the cape skirt? Tracy, great question. Let's see. Well, let's talk about summer, because that faux suede that I think that skirt could probably walk on its own. I've worn it so much. I'm cutting out a few right now out of a very lightweight tweed because it hangs so nicely. Of course, I didn't bring any of these skirts with me today because they're all in the laundry. I had, you know what? I wonder if, no, that's not out there. Okay, let me just give you a few that are really good. If you want something that sticks out, a linen will have a whole different look than something that's softer. So the linen is great. I have a cotton linen blend that you might have seen on my website. There's pink, yellow, and blue. It's really pretty. Those are really great for summer. Then there's a softer, like, let me just look up what mine's called. Hold on a second. Oh, I don't see it on here. You know what I'll do, Tracy, is next week, I will grab a few of my skirts I've made for summer that I haven't shown you yet and bring them here to show you the difference. I'll put them all on dress forms. Would that be helpful? And then you can see the difference of if you have a linen, how it kind of stands out like this. If you have maybe a rayon blend, it drapes. If you do it out of a knit, then it's like just really drapey. Is that even a word? Really drapey? But if that would be helpful, I'll make sure I do that for next week's show. I always go back through all of your questions. Although last week, I'm really sorry, guys. I went through your questions and I was reading them on the plane on the way down there. And if I hit like on anybody's, the internet would freeze. So instead, I just read through all of yours. And very unusual for me, I didn't like all of your comments. But just FYI, I did read them. So let's see what else is here. All right, okay. Susan is saying that it was much warmer in Florida than up here. Yes. I'm sorry I missed your guys' dinner. How fun would that have been? Except we're ways up from you. Key West is awesome, though. Let's see. I can see you guys talking about something about those other coupons for the other website. So if you're looking for what you guys were talking about earlier, just scroll through the comments. Family and me, Leslie. That's not all bad to sew for. Hi there, Scott. Everyone's saying that they sew for themselves or gifts. That's awesome. Your family's lucky to have you by the way. There's a lot of you that actually sew. Oh, Wes says on that skirt we were talking about, $20, not worth it. I'm thinking the same thing. I just remember thinking, you sold that skirt for $20. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're really trying to get your name out there, but you'll be so exhausted from sewing for free. So Janet says she sells on Etsy. Pricing is tricky. If you price too low, you give the impression that the item's too cheap. If you price too high, you limit your market. Janet, that is so true. But once you have the confidence to charge more, or you have a quality product. I mean, you can't just charge more and have like a skirt that's only worth $20 and charge $400. Fabrics make a difference. Your supplies, the quality really makes a difference. But the more expensive you are, if it warrants that price, you might have less buyers, but you will have more quality buyers and you will actually make more money. That's the tricky part. And that is the tricky part that so many people have a hard time with when you're in a creative business. They think that because it's a creative business that you're making, it has to be less expensive, and that's not true. So if your product warrants quality, you can charge it. And you know what, if you have something that's out there and it's just not selling, then you have to like experiment with the price. But as soon as you have a price point where you're selling, just let's just say you have widget. What is that always? This widget. Let's say you have this widget, right? And this thing you have priced at $100 and you have no sales. So you keep lowering it. Now it's better to increase the price. It's a better perception, but okay, lower it, or take it off the market and put it back on at a different price point. Let's just say you have this widget here and you have it for $5. You can't keep up with sales. You up the price to $10. You still can't keep up with sales. You up it a little bit more until you get to the point where you have sales, you're making good money on your product, and you can finally keep up with production. And then I would up it one more time, maybe even two more times. But you don't want to get your market where they're like, oh my gosh, she's so ridiculous now. But at the same time, it's economics. My least favorite class in college, economics. Supply and demand, but that's really what it is. I think that's the only thing I learned in that class, except for the fact that, what was one more thing? When they did the math on bridges. How many cars go over a bridge before it's going to break? And that freaked me out, but that's a whole different point. Okay, so a lot of you are saying yes on the webinar. Well, okay, well, I'm half finished, so I'll just finish it for you. The nice part of the webinar is I don't have to set up a studio and stuff, and most of the stuff I already have saved on my computer. There's so many things in the business world that change, and my passion is obviously sewing and fashion. I also have a passion for entrepreneurship. I love business, and I've learned a lot, and I have a lot to share to help beginners or even advanced to get even further. But that's two totally separate focuses for what I do. So I'm going to try to separate those on different platforms. So you can join for both, or you can just join for one. All right, I see a lot more comments rolling through. I'm just going to post a few more, and then we have to roll. Leslie says, when sewing flowers, remember to make a nipple circle on your pattern so you can be aware. Oh, oh my gosh, I'm like, a nipple what? Okay. I was not even thinking on that avenue when you said that. Okay, everyone, you can do the laugh emoji for Leslie or for me. I think I'm blushing. I didn't even get that right away. Okay, guys, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard because that is so true, and you've heard me talk about that. So what is she talking about? Yeah. What she's talking about is when you lay out your pattern, you want to make sure. And if my dear friend Sean Franzen is watching this right now, you can be laughing right outside of your chair because we talked about this. So this right now, you have to see where these flowers are. Now these are a little bit more all put together. It's when you just have like the big blotches. You have to figure out where on your body or on the body of your pattern these are going to go. So you just don't want to, I'm not going to do it on myself. We're going to use flat Stanley here, okay? We don't want two flowers going right there. So Leslie, that is the best tip of the day. We are ending with that comment because that is the funniest thing. What'd you say, Kate? Place matters. Yes. Let me see if I can find that. That was the best comment of the day, especially because I didn't see it coming. Oh my gosh. Okay, so where's Kay? Kay had the best. Where is it on here? Where's your hashtag, Kay? I'll find it on here. Well, you guys have a lot of, thank you so much for all your comments today. Yes, placement matters. Love that. So that is the best comment of the day. We are ending the show with that. I will be popping in sometime tomorrow in the group, and then Friday I'll probably do another live show just discussing some different fabrics. There won't be a specific time. I'm just going to roll in. And don't forget, if you're not watching live, you can always watch later. I try to work around your schedule, so it always stays up there. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a ball. I hope you had a ball. I thank you for the laugh, because that was pretty hilarious. Leslie, that was the best. Have a great week. I'm not traveling this week, so I won't have any horror stories for you, but I am working on some projects for you, and fingers crossed, you're going to be so excited next week. So if you're not able to join for a couple of live shows I throw in this week, I will see you next Wednesday. Same place, same time. 1:30 Facebook Live. All right, bye guys. Have a good day. Leave your comments. I'll go back and read them. And if you need anything, say hi. Join the group though. Don't forget to see everybody's cool clothes.